Okay, let's do three Oms and Sahanavata. Sahana bhavatu, sahana bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvina badhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Stotram. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatpadam darsitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshur militam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram Jangamam Vyaptam, Yatkim Sacharacharam, Tatpadam Darsitam Yena, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Namadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. So last time we were talking about the Ishvara Srishti and Jiva Srishti. So a mind that recognizes the Ishvara Srishti as I'm dealing with the world is important. And how does the Ishvara Srishti comes into picture? The whole universe is in the order. So there is a physical order at the physical level. And there is an intellectual order at the intellect level, and there is an emotional order at the mind level. So all that has to be appreciated when I appreciate the Ishvara. So Ishvara himself cannot be seen, but from whatever I see, I have to recognize. So when I see a beautiful building there, we admire who created that beautiful building, because it looks very beautiful. It just doesn't come like that. So the universe itself is, order is there. So from the point of everything that we see in this world is ordered system, and order requires a work. Work has to be done to create an order. And therefore, there is an intelligence behind it, and that intelligence we call it Ishvara. And according to our scriptures, so when there is a creation, there are two aspects in the creation. One is the intelligence behind the creation. So creation requires an intelligence because it's intelligently created. And there is a material for creation. So you need material to create. So just as when I want to create a pot, I have the know-how of how to create a pot, knowledge of creation, but I need a clay material for me to create. Even though I may have a know-how, if I don't have the material, I cannot create. So if the Lord has to create this whole universe, if there is a Lord that's creating the universe, He may have the sarvajñatvam, all knowledge of how to create, because everything is in the creation only, and the one who is going to create all that should be knowing all that. So he is sarvajña. Therefore he is an intelligent cause for that, but he still needs a material. And where does he get a material? If there is some other material, then we'll ask who created that material. So the material also has to come from him only. So therefore, not only the nimitta karana means intelligent cause, he is the upadana karana, he is the material cause also for the universe. So Brahman himself became many. That's how the scripture says. Tadaicchata bahusyam prada eti. He saw and he decided, let me become many. So that's called sankalpa matrena. By just sankalpam, the whole creation came. But sankalpam has to be done, and by mere thinking, nothing will come. But mere thinking, the whole dream world is created. But same way, from the Ishvara, the whole world is created for him as though it is like a dream, and everything is apparently created, the whole thing too. So therefore, from that material, he himself became a many. So whatever there is Ishvara, now I cannot see because he became already many. So every many is nothing but Ishvara only. So I had to start seeing whatever I transact with the world. The physical world is nothing but Ishvara only. That's why in India we worship everything. So even in a milestone they put a kumkum and all that and starts worshipping. And you say, oh, they are all superstitious. It's not superstitious. If I can see the Lord even in there, then it is really a knowledge. So we have, every animal is almost a vahanam for the God, right? Including mouse. Mouse, useless mouse for anything. He make use of that as the vehicle for it. And that is essentially is the Ishvara. So there used to be, when I came, they said, oh, Hindus worship monkeys, but we elect them here. So, monkey, we worship everything in the world. So that means we have a reverence to all the life forms. That's what its implication is. So every physical object I deal with, I should have a reverential attitude. I should not really waste something unnecessarily. And that is what is the outlook of looking at. So not only I had to see the Lord in everybody, I had to recognize everything is nothing but the Lord only. That reverential attitude I should have while transacting with the world. That is the physical order. The intellectual order, those who are intellectual oriented can appreciate the beauty of the creation and the intelligence behind it. So all scientists are discovering what is the order, what are the forces that are governing this creation. So that requires an intellectual analysis. So from the baby, we develop the intellect for a human being of learning process by an orderly intellect. Otherwise it cannot be learned. And that intellectual order is also God also, because there is an order involved. And there is an emotional order also. So every bhavam is an expression of the Lord only. So when I see somebody is angry, I should recognize, oh, Lord is getting angry in this way. So that's why we call in the dance also navarasas. Navarasas is you express 9 rasas as though those are expressible in the form, and that is respected as an art itself, right? So all emotions are also recognized as the beauty of the Lord. That anything that you see in the Navarasas, all the rasas are part of the Lord himself. And each rasa invokes certain action also that has to be done to face. Karuna rasa is required when somebody is suffering, right? That has to become, and also that should lead to the activities. Because the emotions can be, one should not be emotional, but one should recognize the emotions as the reason for as a human glory also to have a bhavam. So that is all Ishvara Srishti only. So when suddenly comes, we are afraid, right? Every animal is afraid. Physical security is animal is afraid. So everyone runs away if you want to catch it, because it's afraid security. So that fear for is survival is an instinctive reaction. That's a part of the Lord only. So don't be afraid is a useless statement. Okay? Even some physical security, you will be afraid, automatically you're afraid. It's a natural process. And that becomes a part of the Ishvara Srishti only, has to be recognized. So what is Jiva Srishti? Says, where I told you, He creates, wherever I create confusion, that is Jiva Srishti. So Jiva Srishti starts with, when I am looking at the perceptually, there are errors in perception is a Jiva Srishti. That's why it's called the physical world. When I'm transacting, it's called a Vyavaharika Satyam, transactional reality. Is different, table is different, chair is different. These are all for transactions where table has to be used as a table, chair has to be used as a table, food has to be used as a food, and garbage has to be discarded as a garbage only. So each as a transactional level, there is a utility and transactability of the world. That is a transactional reality. But also there is a projection because of the errors. Error from the judgment from the individual. That becomes a Jiva Srishti. So what's the error? When I'm, classical example is when I am walking in the semi-dark and I stepped on something soft, long and soft, I say it's a snake. So, but it may be a rope, but I am seeing it as a snake out of fear, and that seeing of where I am projecting a snake where the rope is, that is Jiva Srishti. I am creating a snake where the rope is. That is actually creation is my mind, right? When I see the rope as a rope, where did the snake go? If snake has really went away somewhere, that means that was a real snake. So whatever came from my mental projection is called Pratibhasika Satyam. So there is a Vyavaharika Satyam, that is a transactional, that is Ishvara Srishti, that I cannot do anything because I am not the creator of that. So I cannot change the laws of the universe, the gravitational force I cannot change. I want to throw a stone all the way so that it goes all the way to Pittsburgh. And if I then go and say, why you want to change the gravitational force so that it will go all the way to Pittsburgh, it won't. I cannot change it. I had to adopt the laws and learn the laws of the Lord and adopt it for my convenience. I can use it, but I'm not the author of that. So there is a Ishvara Srishti there. There's a Jiva Srishti comes into picture when I'm projecting something what is not really there. But I take that what I project is real though. That's where the problem is. If I deliberately project, there is no problem. Then it's fun. It's called daydreaming. But when I am when I am seeing that where there is a snake, where the rope is, not only I am projecting the snake which is not really there, but because of the snake is going to bite me, therefore I am afraid, then the fear and all the effects and my blood pressure goes up, all the physical effects are coming in because of my mental projection. So the problem is, not only I am projecting something which is not really there, but because of the mental projection and taking that projection as a real, causes me subsequent problems in my mind, and that problems also comes to a physical problems also. So a lot of mental problems become physical problems also. So psychosomatic diseases are there where I don't have a problem, but I imagine a problem and I will have a real problem also. That's because of the Jiva Srishti only. So the whole, what is I created is a Jiva Srishti, all Pratibhasika Satyam. So there is a Vyavaharika Satyam, which is Ishvara Srishti. There is a Pratibhasika Satyam, which is called a Jiva Srishti. What is a Jiva Srishti? Hey, this is mine and that is yours. Lord didn't create all that. Lord created everything. So this is mine. Where does it come? When I possessiveness, ownership is what? Is a Jiva Srishti. Okay. So Lord has given me, this is a different thing. I am only trustee. Lord has given this child for me to take care of. Lord has given me this husband or this wife and this, all that is essentially Ishvara Srishti. For transactional purposes I can use it. But if I take this is mine and I have already a Jiva Srishti. So any possessiveness, ahankara and mamakara comes from Jiva Srishti. So you know where the problem is. So, all our problems are not from the Ishvara Srishti. All our problems come from the Jiva Srishti only, where this is mine, therefore that is not that. This is me, and therefore that is not me. So, all that ego, ahankara and mamakara is coming from the projection from the Jiva only. If I understand it, how should I understand now? Should I say this is not me anymore? But I had to transactionally, I need to use it. At the same time, intellectually, I should have a clear understanding, this is not really me, or this is not really mine. And that which doesn't belong to me, I don't have to own it. But if I had to use for transaction purposes, then I can use it for transaction only. So this is my house. For I say, hey, what is your house? That's my house. For transaction purposes, we had to use the terminology has to be used, but knowing very well, I don't really own it. Right now I am living comfortably as long as this body is there. It requires a shelter, and Lord has provided enough money for me to have this shelter also. It is His prasadam only. I am using it as a prasadam. So my attitude towards that will change, where the ownership, so-called ownership, there is nothing really I own. Don't own anything at all in this world, because I came into this world with nothing, not even dress. Everything is provided for me. And when I leave it, I cannot take anything with me. I have to leave even the body also here. And make sure other people are make sure that I am not going to take anything with me. So this is where, what is my locale, what is my here? It says, as long as I am living here, what I need, I have to use it for convenience. Therefore, when I am earning, earn as much as you can. There is no scripture will say not to earn, but use it for the benefit of others after requiring your minimum requirements. Body has to be taken care of, shelter is required, food is required, the dresses are required, but whatever the minimum is required has to be done for transactions, thanking the Lord for everything. At the same time, whatever you have has to be utilized properly. Therefore, whole Upanishad starts, says that you have to give it for others. With attitude of service only you have to give it. Because that is Lord has given you an opportunity to give, so that He has given a vehicle for it. There is a beautiful, in the Gitanjali, I don't know how many people, the Rabindranath Tagore says Gitanjali, there's a lot of beautiful things, so poems are there. He says, Lord has come, I don't remember the poem, and Lord asked me something to give. Say, what a beggar I can give. I am looking all over, and then I give him one couple of rice pieces that I had a lot more, but I only give him few pieces when he asks. And then in the night when I am looking at it, I have those 5 golden pieces there in my pocket. I cry, I could have given the whole thing, it would have become gold. But says, what a pity that is, you know. And it's a beautiful, so whatever I give, that only I get back. Don't think you are getting back anything, something strange. Whatever you have given, only it comes back to you. If you don't give, you won't get it. This is a law. So whatever I have, give it, but give it properly also. A patra dhanam is there, apatra dhanam should not be given. You should give in such a way that it is beneficial for them to grow up. Yeah. So the highest gift that you can give is the knowledge itself. So they become self-sufficient so that they don't depend anymore. That is the greatest one. Giving food and all that is okay until he can stand by himself. But whatever you can give is the greatest one, is the knowledge, that is the highest gift. And so therefore, I had to have a clear understanding of what is Jiva Srishti. All my samsara is because of Jiva Srishti only. Okay, that has to be recognized. So, samsara means this is mine and that is mine, and somebody takes mine and I am suffering, and somebody gives, I am elated. All that ups and downs in life and everything that I am suffering, and oh, I am losing somebody, my love is gone, and this one is gone, and that one. Every complaint that you have is nothing but due to Jiva Srishti only. If it is Ishvara Srishti, Lord has given this prasadam, you accept everything with a prasada buddhi, understand that it is Ishvara Srishti only, then I am impervious to all ups and downs in the world. Right? That doesn't mean that you should not be sensitive enough. Don't go and say, why are you crying? You are crying unnecessarily. It's all Ishvara Srishti. He needs to be compensated first. He doesn't understand, he may not be Vedantic. So when somebody is suffering out of, if you can help him and console him in such a way that he is able to use discrimination enough to grow beyond. So you have to be sympathetic, you have to understand the human nature also. At the same time, you yourself should not be. That's how Gita starts. You are crying where there is no reason for you to cry. Asocyan anvasochatvam prajnavamsi bhashate gadasona gadasum cha nanusochanti panditaha. So pandita, they don't cry. Why they don't cry? They have understood what is Ishvara Srishti and what is Jiva Srishti. You are crying for, because nobody suffers unnecessarily also. They are suffering because of their own actions. But you don't cause them unnecessarily suffering. So someone asked me recently, says, what is the calamities that occur? There are natural calamities, there are man-made calamities. So natural calamities that come to you is because of creation, not you, anybody is involved. A big thunderstorm came and the floods come and a lot of things happen. That's not your creation. That's a natural creation that comes on. People suffer as a result of it, that's because of prarabdha only. And remember in the first time when the Air India was bombed, from Montreal to, there was a flight that was going that was bombed. Somebody put a bomb in there. And some people escaped that flight and they were cursing because they missed the flight because of the connection flight. And they were cursing, oh, they could not get into that plane. They were crying, cursing and all that because they had to go all the way to Montreal to catch that. And people got in who would not get it otherwise, because these people didn't get in. Other people got in who were not getting to ready, they were not getting reservations, but they got into that plane because they got these seats available. Now what happened after that? And now fellows who escaped this whole, now they are happy. Other fellows who got in, they were suffering in terms of their relatives. So Lord gives only what they deserve anybody. But what we do doesn't mean that we have to go and teach that one to the people who are suffering. I say we have to be sympathetic enough at the same time, we should not suffer the consequence. We have to forbear. Tan tichishasva bharata. Says matra sparshestu kantiya sitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama paino nityaha tan tichishasva bharata. There is agama anityaha. Nothing remains constant here because everything is fluctuating. So just forbear is the teaching of this one. So there is a Ishvara Srishti and a Jiva Srishti where I don't myself create unnecessarily in this world, accept everything that comes from the Lord and accept also that it's the Lord himself is performing the action, so its results also goes to him only. So even though God has given me excess money, when I denote something, it is God's gift only, it is that which deserves from them only, but only God is using me as a vehicle for me to make a decision who deserves what and therefore give it properly also. That intelligence also Lord is given me to use it. But it is his gift and he gets the credit on it. Only Lord is using me as a vehicle for it. So that should be understood. So when I realize that everything is nothing but Brahman or totality and I am that Brahman, when I recognize that, and what happens to that? The Ishvara Srishti will remain as Ishvara Srishti only. That will not disappear because I didn't create this. The totality is there, but only the Jiva Srishti will go away. What is Jiva Srishti? All the confusions that I have created. This is mine, that is mine, ahankara, mamakara, all are coming from the Jiva Srishti only. That will go away. And what remains is the Ishvara Srishti. I still see the world, I still see the whole transactions, and this body, mind, and intellect is also part of Ishvara Srishti only. That will remain. And as long as the body, mind, intellect and senses are functioning, the perception, everything will go on, transactions will go on, but yet I have understood I am not a doer because I am Brahman. That is where karmaniya karmaya pasyet, one who sees non a doer even while doing is going on. That understanding comes when the Jiva Srishti gets eliminated in the process of knowledge. So this is what the samsara is. Samsara is coming from not Ishvara Srishti. Samsara is coming from the Jiva Srishti only. So in the Jiva Srishti, we have gradations of that because of what kind of Srishti depends upon what I think, and the mind comes into picture. Human mind makes into this is mine and that is mine. So I can teach my mind that this is everything is Ishvara Srishti, has to be understood, and that becomes a jnanam for that mind only. So now, yesterday, last time we analyzed this types of mind from the point of what is the subtle equipment. We have the buddhi, intellect, the emotional center, that is the mind, we call it. And although the whole thing is called mind as a whole package, but in the discrimination, the discriminative faculty is the intellect, buddhi, and emotional faculty is the mind, and the ego, the ahankara is I am so and so, identifying with the body, mind, intellect is come from the one aspect is called jiva, the ahankara and ego, and the third one is essentially chitta, the memory. That's one classification we gave. The second classification we gave is essentially the objective mind, that which analyzes, and that which is the other mind is the wavering mind, which is useless mind, or mind which is made useless for not thinking properly or wasting mind, and other one is the neurotic mind, which really is a problem, causes a mental problem also. That's another classification we did. Then we have a different classification also, that is depends upon our samskara, our essentially the vasana texture defines our mental attitude in the actions and behavior. And that determines what's essentially a sattvika or rajasic or tamasic mentality. This is the universal classification because this is a prakriti, and prakriti is trigunatmikam. That's what is the Bhagavad Gita says. Three gunas are in balanced state, where you have sattvic guna, you have rajasic guna, and you have tamasic guna. They are all in balance. Total is balanced. But when he created the different worlds, the tamasic part is essentially used for creation of the gross materials, and we have 14 lokas are created, and that's what in the Panchadasi we have gone through in the second chapter. So essentially it says there are 14 lokas. It says Deva Loka to all the way to Adho Loka, for depending upon the nature of the world that is going to be occupied by that. So there is a sattvic world and there is a tamasic world also in the process. All are created by the tamasic guna, but those who reside in that higher lokas are the ones who have a sattvic guna will go into the higher lokas, satya loka, and atho loka is essentially atala, rasala, patala, mahatala, rasatala. Patala is the lowest one, where that is loka also. So these 14 lokas are also created based on the prakriti, because prakriti is the material in which Ishvara is going to create all that. And the sattvic, we went through the sattvic and rajasic and all that, is how we have subtle body, gross body is part of the sattvic, and you have subtle body coming from the mind and the intellect coming from the rajas point, and also from the combination of rajas and sattvic also. All that combinations are there from the material point also. But Swabhavam also in the character of the mind also is projecting, and those who are intellectually oriented wants to learn, there is a want to have curiosity to learn, and all those people are essentially more and more Sattvika Guna is the one that propels knowledge. Rajasic Guna propels activities. They cannot sit down and listen. And Rajas, they want to do restless, they become restless, they want to do something. Say, what is pointing all this Vedanta? People are suffering and we have to do help on all those things. For them, they cannot sit down and listen. For that mentality is essentially a Rajasic mentality. Tamasic mentality is essentially laziness, procrastination, lazy and all that, where sleepiness comes because of that. These three gunas vary in every individual. And every state also it varies. From morning, early in the night, you become tamasic. You want to sleep. Hey, let's do Vedanta class. Tomorrow, I'm too tired. So, no knowledge at that time. So, this fluctuation of the mental states also changes. And similarly, individual character also is different. Some are more sattvic dominated, some are rajasic dominated, and some are tamasic dominated. And depending on that, Gita also teaches depending upon what mental structure. This is nothing to do with India also. This is universal classification. This is a classification because the whole Prakriti is classified in that way. If you are created, that is Prakriti has created. If you are Prakriti has created, these three gunas are there. What can happen is, if I have a sattvic guna, where if I have that tendency of higher, predominantly that tendency, I may enter into an environment that is conducive for my sattvic guna to exhaust. That's possible. But this is coming this is a universal classification. Those who are predominantly sattvic, those predominantly rajasic, and those predominantly tamasic. There are intermediate stages, and that's what is essentially guna and karma, where Krishna says, Chaturvidha bhajantim. They are created as Chaturvanyam Maya Srishtam. Since there are four types of creations are there, and this based on the guna and karma, based on the activities and the gunas. So if I have a sattvic guna, if I have rajasic, this is not meant for evaluating other people, or is he sattvic, or is he rajasic, or is he tamasic. It's not meant for that, but it's meant for you to evaluate also. Of course, if other fellow is restless, you have to give him proper work for him. You know that he cannot sit down and listen to this. He needs something to creative work. So, depending upon the mental, Gita also teaches to different people also. So, Gita is for everybody. For a tamasic guy, so at least get up and do some physical exercise. Get up, do all the yogas and all that, is so that at least getting up make me active. And one has to go from a tamasic to rajasic to sattvic. That is the evolutionary process, until you realize that none of the gunas belong to me. They belong to only Prakriti. So this is a mental evolution of an individual. So what should I use this? Why do I need all these studies? Because I have to evaluate myself, what is my tendencies and inclinations in life. It's meant for my evaluation and evolution also. So when I evaluate, say I want to study Gita. So one day, next day, he won't even come. Why? Because he's restless sitting there. So what should he do for evolution? So when he is a rajasic person, give him a projects that he can really benefit for the other society itself. Because he has to do something. He cannot keep quiet. And it's not only him. We also, most people who are interested in the sattvic, they give opportunity to more and more study it, so that one can evolve to higher. So study becomes a process for us, for those who are sattvic oriented, because he likes to sit and read or study more and write more or do something and talk, or only about him, that only he is more interested. He is not involved in any activities. It gets bored outside. So for him, this is the methodology where one has to evolve, and therefore Sattvic is the one that is essentially involved. Okay, go and find somebody and start teaching. Before you teach, you have to learn. So it is process is established for those who are dominant. So all the activities that I had to evaluate myself, what is that? It's not that fixed every time. As I go in my evolution, my tendencies from initially I was rajasic. I cannot be. Now slowly after the life says, hey, what is the use of this? What should I do? All these activities is not giving me what I'm looking for. And if I start questioning it, tad vijnanartam sa gurum eva vigachet. Once I recognize that these activities will not give me the happiness that I am longing for, then what should I do? You go to a teacher. That's what the scripture tells you. When I can evaluate myself and find that this is rajasic life is not giving me the happiness that I want. So this mental attitudes are also important to evaluate myself during every time. Now, daily I am too tired. So don't at that time sit and do something else. Do something else that is really beneficial. So change your attitude so that your work habits and all that will change as I evaluate myself. What is that which I enjoy most? And ultimately, the goal is fixed now. We have a highest goal. So towards that goal, what should I do in order to evolve myself? At least do that. So involve in the karma yoga, because I cannot sit and read all the time. If you can, that's good. If you can sit and meditate and contemplate on it all the time, good. That's the life, because you are happy with that. But if you are restless, can't do it, then go to the activities, involve yourself in the activities, but again, keep this in mind and act on whatever that need to be done. But there are obligatory activities. Even though you may be sattvic, you may be realized, but there are obligatory activities. As long as you are taking a particular role in the life, you have to do this role. So perform those role now with the attitude that I am doing that for the Lord. That becomes a karma yoga. So Ishvara Arpita Buddhi, with that, until I understand, Lord himself is doing this. So I can stand back and watch the Lord functioning through this body. Body is still functioning. So, Pasyan, Grunvan, whatever the individual, the senses, everything is performing as usual, but I can stand apart and recognize that I am a karta, I am non-doer, while doing is going on. That's very difficult, right? Without getting out means emotionally I should not get attached to the activities as my activity. Emotions should be involved where emotions are required, but I should not be emotional. Follow? That's where the difference in a jnani acting versus ajnani acting also. So this becomes a part of the growth of evolution, where understanding the mental attitude himself become important. In the whole Gita, there's a classically in the 18th chapter and all that, there's so much of discussion about the sattvic, rajasic and the tamasic, how a sattvic person acts, how a sattvic person gives versus how a rajasic person. That understanding will help me to develop that, at least practice that in the form, so that I should be like that as a goal. So how should I give dhanam? How should I say God, dhanam has to be given as though it's an opportunity for you to serve. With that attitude, if I give, not that I am giving something, I have nothing for me to give. Lord has given this one, but He has given me an opportunity to serve, because He has given me to give it to somebody. So that is a different attitudes. That's why there is a big classification of the whole thing in the Gita. But that we can understand it, but we have to apply in our daily life also. And some of the things so many things are there in the Gita in terms of application wise. But what we have to do is apply all these things in one way, and in the process there is a samadrushti. Samadrushti is I had to have an equanimity in my vision itself. says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichayva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshanaha. There's a sloka in the 4th chapter. Says what? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini. A realized person looks at a Brahmin. Brahmins are the one who has understood the Vedas or understood that this is the truth. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, who has the knowledge of this truth. Either he is that person a realized person looking at a realized person, or looking at a Mahatma, or Gavi Hastini, either a cow or a elephant, or Suni is either a dog or even a dog eater also. Samadarshanaha means is an equal vision. So what does it mean? He looks at them as equal. So no, I am a realized person. From one stone is not different from a diamond, is not different from a gold. Is that what Samadarshan means? So that's not. Gold is still gold, remain gold. And there's a story, the husband and wife both have taken up the Vedantic study, and they say, Samadarshan, we have to have equal vision. So the husband was walking, suddenly he saw a diamond there. So afraid that wife may mistake that diamond and go after diamond, he tried to cover it. so that wife won't get carried away that it is a diamond. And then wife saw that. Says, why are you covering it? Saying that so that you don't go after diamond, because you should have some other. So do you have some other? Because you are trying to cover it. Because you think that this is different from the regular stone versus that stone. So Swami Paramatma says, I don't see everything is nothing but the Lord. If you see only nothing but the Lord, there is some problem with your eyes. Go to ophthalmologist and get corrected. Because what I see is still differences are there, but my vision should be understood. So what if that Samadarshana means? Swami Tejamaya gives a beautiful explanation here. But what is Samadarshan means? I had to see in its, what is this? Nothing but the Lord Himself in different forms, but each form has its own utility. So I had to see this person is useful in this way, that is his utility. Don't expect more than him what it is. If you expect more than this, you get disappointed. So all our problems are because we try to expect a lot of things from others and then get disappointed, right? So Samadarshanam involves has to be understood each person in its value, as each one has its own value, in his own level, at his own state. Therefore, whether it's a Brahmana or whether it's a cow is still a cow, and an elephant is still an elephant. And tiger is still tiger. Don't say they are all same and go and play with the tiger. You have to be used tiger in a tiger place, and elephant in an elephant place, cow in a cow in a place, and respect for a teacher as respect in the same way. What I am looking at a Samadarshanam is I have to have a value for everything in its proper place. Because everything is nothing but the Lord Himself expressing in this way. Weed is still weed, flower is still flower, fruit is full fruit, apple is still apple, and other fruit is another product. They are all different. The beauty of lemon is to be sour only, right? So it has its own beauty in being a lemon, and other one is a fruit has to be in its own beauty in being a sweet. So I don't mix those things. But I have respect for lemon, because thank God lemon is lemon, it's useful for a lemon, and another fruit is sweet because it's sweet, it's nature. Only I should have an equal vision in the sense that understanding wise, they have its own value, and this is very important in my transactions, because when I'm transacting with the world with the varieties of different things and different people, the variety is the nature of the creation. Each leaf is different from other leaf. That's the beauty of the creation itself, but I have to value them in its own merit also. That is the real Samadarshan. That vision will come when I see the presence of the Lord in everything. I see the Lord in the presence of, in this form, I see the Lord in the presence of that form. respect for everything in the creation is there. At the same time, utility of each one is, it has its own utility, and that has to be utilized properly in that sense only. Then I have no more additional expectation than what it is. Then my Jiva Srishti will go away. My expectation is only my creation. It has to be valued, and all that will be a part of that. So essentially, we have covered so many aspects of this application of Gita. So we started from essentially write your biography, what is your evaluation yourself, and establish a goal, in highest goal. And from there on, we classified in terms of each one, looking at our own evolution and how to apply day to day. First thing in the morning is start prayer, and last thing end with a prayer, and start seeing the presence of the Lord everywhere, because now I realize that Lord is nothing but, everything is nothing but the Lord only. But in my transactions, I had to keep that knowledge. But for my own evolution, depending upon what kind of samskaras I have, what kind of tendencies I have, I had to develop those and ultimately go from Rajasic to the Tamasic to Rajasic to Sattvic. Encouraging more and more Sattvic, and as I go, develop more and more, I had to withdraw from the lower and invest something to the higher. That's why I said attachment to the higher, then only I can detach from the lower. That is a part of thing that I have to develop as a part of my day-to-day sadhana also. So with this, I'm going to stop this series itself, because we have covered almost all aspects of it, where we have covered in terms of what exactly Gita has to be applied. And the more important is, as I go Sattvic nature, I had to use as a part of my sadhana at least to spend hour every day, an hour for the study of Vedanta. That's a part of my sadhana. So not only I have classified everything and allotted whatever I need to do obligatory duties, that I should not forget. Once the obligatory duties are done, any extra time that I have to utilize for my benefit now. Either I perform the activities for the benefit of everybody else as a karma yoga, or for my own benefit as the jnana yoga, for studying the scriptures or reading the scriptures or attending the satsang. Wherever the satsang is, make use of the satsang, because satsangatve nissangatvam, nissangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nischalatatvam, nischalatatve jivan mukta. So by having association with the satsang, satsang includes not only the books that we study or the movies that we watch. Obviously, I withdraw unnecessarily movies or unnecessarily information things that are no use to me that much. Devote more and more time on the study of the scriptures, and that's what I had to do. So the daily activities and whole my evolution, I had to start out from now on. What is my highest goal? To realize that highest reality, because the birth is given as a human form for me, and that is the gift indeed. And I am given an intellect and also an opportunity to get exposed to this knowledge, because we are blessed with this kind of knowledge, and to make use of it. And not only I study, and once I see the value of this, and pass on that to the next generation, to my children and so on, because that is my role also as a part of it. So that we have covered almost everything of what application of the Gita is, that I cannot think of anything else. And essentially in these 6 talks we have used, but this has to be practiced now. So with that, I'm going to do Purnamada Purnamidam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Let me stop this.